Is MG3 the best little hatchback that you can buy with your money in Australia in July of 2022? Today I am lucky enough to be given this car for a little test drive and review by RideMG, by my friends at RideMG, so that I can finally pass my own personal judgment on the final car from MG lineup available for purchase in Australia. And this is one car that I have not reviewed. So today I'm very happy to take this little beast for a spin and offer my subjective casual reviewer thoughts with you, my friends. So if this is something that you're interested in, please like the video while you're at it and keep watching. Let's talk about it. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I'm Dimitri, this is MG Owners Australia, and as I already said, today we are reviewing MG3, the smallest car and the cheapest car from the lineup of MG that you can get in Australia in 2022. Spoiler alert, I do believe, you know that I am a believer in the brand. I do think that these cars are underrated, severely underrated, and subjected to a lot of negative stigma, like Chinese cars are bad and something like that. Pfft, give me a break. But that is me running ahead of myself. But MG3 seems to offer such an amazing value at this price point. You can get this base model of MG3 in Sydney today for $18.99, if I'm not mistaken, but it's under 19,000, just a little bit under 19,000 of Australian dollars. We're not talking any other currency, my friends, here. We will talk about the features in this video, we will talk about the drive experience, basically everything. So take a look at the timeline below the video and the description in case you are impatient and you would like to just jump to a specific topic. So that is always available to you there. Now, let's start with the general kind of perception of this car that any normal buyer would have. So price versus the look, let's say, when you look at this car, right? Well, as far as the looks are concerned, this is the base model. Please keep in mind that this is the cheapest base model of MG3 that you can buy. That's a core model. What's different about this model from the outside is that, well, it is rather basic. Let's call it for what it is. I don't think it's offensive. I don't think it's in any shape or form kind of looks bad or whatever. That is not what I'm saying whatsoever. But there is nothing particularly special about it, and I am subjectively, personally, not a fan of this color. But that is nothing, right? That is not a substantial yes or no, buy a car or not buy a car. Let's just address the elephant in the room. That's what I thought I'll start with. This car, the core version, the base model, comes with 15-inch alloy wheels. It comes with a 1.5-liter engine. It's a petrol engine, obviously. It's a 4-speed automatic, which is not super impressive, but what do you expect from a cheaper lineup of a car? That's a separate point. Even in the base model, believe it or not, it still has cruise control. It still has air conditioning, obviously. It has an 8-inch infotainment screen, which I have not tested thoroughly, but we're going to talk briefly about it today as well. It has reverse sensors, reverse camera, so it's even packed with some features that you do not expect from the base model cars, is what I'm trying to say to you. So you actually get something in this package. Like, as far as finishes in the car as I'm sitting here are concerned, it is the cheaper plastic that you see here, but nothing is rattly. And nothing is sort of bad. Nothing produces to me an impression of, oh, that's why it costs so little. I can see it's not an MGHS Essence, it's not our ZST, but you get what you pay for. You get what you pay for, and in this case, again, this plastic, the quality of this plastic is unoffensive. It's unoffensive. Yes, it's plasticky. The seats are cloth in the base model. The higher models of this MG3 lineup, they offer you at least partial insets of leather in the seats and leather headrest and some other elements that are mostly cosmetic, I'm being told. So on the outside, the higher models of this MG3 would have had kind of a nicer, sportier looking skirting lines at the bottom of the car. They would have had a 1-inch bigger alloy wheels. They would have had 16-inch alloy wheels and a little spoiler at the back as well, which is missing from this model. That kind of changes the silhouette of the car a tiny bit. But again, subjectively, as far as appearances are concerned, an initial impression on the finishes, I know I'm kind of scattershotting here my impressions. I think the car is okay. It looks okay. And as far as the high-level list of features that I've mentioned to you now, and as far as the, just, you know, what the car is looking like at this price point, I think it's very, 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 very good. I would say it's very, very good. Now, if we continue talking about the finishes and kind of what you see here as a driver, as you sit in the driver's seat, it's a very basic kind of dashboard. It's a very basic instrument panel, which is very analog. Yes, it has some indicators there and lights, obviously, but as you can see, both hands are analog. You can see that infotainment screen is rather small, but functional. It's okay. It has manual controls over air conditioning, which remind me a tiny bit of my LDV D90. And if you watched any of those videos, you know that I'm actually a fan of manual, at least controls of the most essential controls, such as air conditioning. I don't like, me personally, I don't like tapping on the screen to find some controls there, some sort of air conditioning control. So I like this basic stuff. I don't mind it. I really don't mind it. The rest of it, look, you can see here we have some essential buttons. We have obviously a USB port to connect your phone to have Apple Carplay. If I forgot to mention the Apple Carplay, it's included here, Apple Carplay, even in the base model. I'm not so sure about Android Auto, and this is not an in-depth review. It's a high-level kind of review. Should you buy, should you not buy? Is it value for money? Is it not value for money? I think it is value for money, by the way. The steering wheel reminds me a little bit of our ZST and even a little bit of my MG HS essence, but obviously a bit more basic. But it still is, it's leather trimmed. It has insets of plastic, but it has insets of leather as well. Either it's faux leather or not, but it's pleasant in the hand. It is even in the base model of the cheapest car here, MG3, right? Steering wheel feels better than my base model steering wheel in LDV D90. As far as the steering itself is concerned, I would say that it's a little bit on a sort of, it's a little stiff. I would say that steering is stiff. I'm sure it's assisted in some way, but I have not checked if it's electrically assisted. I assume it's electrically assisted rather than hydraulic assisted system, but please cross-check the technicalities if you are really, really interested in this particular element. But I'd say it is not very light or very smooth. So I can say to you that steering, even though the car is small, it actually feels a little bit stiff. So that is, it's not immensely enjoyable. I would not lie to you. I would say it's value for money, hands down. I still think it's value for money, this car. And I will be saying it throughout this very little short review today. But I would say that the steering wheel is a little, doesn't feel as sporty and as nice, even though in the hand, as far as the quality of it, it does feel similar to ZST and HS, but the turning it does not. As far as interior space is concerned, you know how often hatchbacks have a bit of a slopey back. That is what reduces the amount of headroom at the back seats, right? But in here, because this hatchback is kind of very more generous, more honest hatchback, it has an extended back of the roof, and that way people sitting at the back actually get a lot more headroom. So I took a look at it. It's a nice, very decent, honest, clothy finish, obviously in this base model, but there is enough space. It is unoffensive. It is also having, in my opinion, for such a small car, a rather generous hatchbacky boot. Would it be enough for me personally? You know it wouldn't be, because I didn't have enough in my MG HS and I had to buy LDV D90 to fit in all my stuff and family and everything for travel purposes. But if you are looking for a small, cheap, affordable little hatchback, I think that boot here is very unoffensive. As far as the power of the car on the road, I think it drives okay. It certainly is not going to be winning any prizes for performance, but this is also not that type of car and not that type of price category where you would boast some turbo things that, I don't know, Volkswagen Polo or Golf or, and so on and so forth. Cars of much higher price category would boast. It is not a keyless entry, and you have to turn the key in this car to start it. There is no button to start it. It's a manual handbrake also as well, so if you're more interested in those kind of experiences. So look, it's a rather basic, very honest, but well put together by the look of it, little car. And in my opinion, again, to not stretch this video into unnecessary length, just to drive a very simple point forward, I think the car, all in all, it looks unoffensive, it looks okay, in my opinion. The color, I would have picked white, because white, especially in the higher models with black trim, probably will make it look sportier and better, overall just better. It has cruise control, it has reverse camera, it costs peanuts for a new car, $19,000 Australian, for a brand new car with generous room inside, and all these features I think is very good. I think you need to test drive one to make sure that the steering, which is the only thing that stood out to me in a slightly less amazing way, I suppose, I think you need to check that. And I will make also one final point, that I was told that this is the only car in lineup of MG right now for sale in Australia that has not been formally ANCAP rated, so for safety rating. They had their safety rating, which was nothing to boast about in 2016, but those were manual versions of MG3. They had their own problems. There have been generations of this car ever since then, so it would be unfair to assume that the latest recorded ANCAP rating would apply to this exact vehicle. But for some reason that I don't know, and my friends at MG, at Ride MG, were not able to tell me about, this particular car has not been ANCAP rated. If you're one of those people with big fears around that kind of stuff, and you don't trust just general judgment and general feeling of the car and other kind of stuff, you need some external authority to put some stars on the car for you to buy it, this may be not the right choice for you. But again, if we go back to common sense, to checking how solid the car genuinely feels, okay, even in the base version, and if you trust your own safety, you know, your own kind of risk taking, you're not gonna do something crazy in this car. I think this is a very honest, very affordable, probably is the key word, because I'm not sweeping the market for every single comparison. You know that we can compare it to Suzuki Swift, you know that we can compare it to Volkswagen Polo and other cars, but they are massively more expensive. They probably will give you formal ANCAP rating, but aside from that, I don't think you're gonna get reverse camera, I don't think you're gonna get reverse sensors, I don't think you're gonna get cruise control and other kind of features that this car offers to you in base model. These are my high-level thoughts about MG3. Did I enjoy driving it? I think it's okay for what it is. Would I buy one for myself personally? No, mainly because I can afford a car that costs double this, and also from MG or LDV for that matter, and I'm enjoying those cars immensely. This is a bit basic, steering is a bit stiff for me, for my liking. Aside from that, I think it's an honest, good car that you probably should test drive if it fits into your price category. These are my thoughts. Leave yours in the comments down below. Subscribe for more videos from me if you haven't already, and like this video so that more people can see it. That's very much appreciated. Hope you enjoyed this video. Talk to you next time. Bye for now.